Hello, hello. It'll take us probably a few minutes to get some people in here. Let's see. I'm going to turn my volume down on my phone. I just heard it go off. So I just changed my live day from Sunday to Tuesday, so everybody hasn't quite got the memo on that yet. So, but I'm going to try that StreamYard thing where you can go live with other people and they can be getting watch time at the same time. You heard of that? I said I'm gonna try that StreamYard thing where two people can go live at the same time and both be getting watch time. Have you heard of that?
No, I haven't.
No, you haven't.
No, that was possible.
Yeah. One person has to have that StreamYard where you pay for it. And the other person that's invited doesn't have to have it as long as they have a link from that person. So Tina and I did like a test live from Life with Piedmont earlier, and we streamed for about 5 or 7 minutes or something like that. So we're going to try it out tomorrow. She's paid for the membership, and I'm going to do it coming up here today or tomorrow. Yeah.
That's pretty interesting.
Well, I thought it might help to monetize my other channel. We'll see. We'll see if it works. Because I think I can talk more if I have somebody.
This channel here is monetized.
What's that?
Now, this channel here is monetized, correct?
Yes, it is. Hello, Lynn Oki. Welcome in, Kathleen. Hello, Heather. Yep. I got this one monetized, so I'm kind of getting it for the other channel, but I could use it for this one too. It makes it easier to talk for longer when you have somebody up with you, you know.
Gotcha.
You still having some technical difficulties?
Check comments. Okay, there we go. How's everybody doing? Hey, Lynn. Hey, Alabama Farm Life.
Can you guys hear Dwayne? Can y'all hear him out there in the chat? If you can hear him, type yes. It's kind of going in and out or something. I don't know what's going on. Sounds like a connection thing. Oh, it sounds better now.
Huh. That's weird.
Maybe I need to check. It's. I'm gonna check my volume real quick and make sure I don't have it down. Sometimes I'll be saying something and then mine will be down a little bit. Okay. Yeah, I turned my volume up, so maybe I'll be able to hear you a little bit better. So, have you kind of made out a garden plan for this year?
Yeah, I kind of got a plan. It's all in my head though. When you got ADHD, you kind of, all plans to go aside. But I do have a kind of an idea this year. I want to grow more berries or strawberries. So I started, actually, that's what I was doing earlier today, working on my strawberry patch. I added another box for my strawberries. And then picked up loganberries and gooseberries from Tractor Supply.
I haven't heard of loganberries.
They're supposed to be. Loganberries are kind of like tayberries. It's a cross between a blackberry and a raspberry. Kind of tangy, not as sweet as a blackberry, more on the tangier side. But yeah, it's a cross between a mulberry and a raspberry.
I want to grow blueberries, but I don't really know where to start. You have to start from a cutting, right?
Well, so I've actually bought my blueberries. I got one that's doing good. I bought them at small trees or either small, I guess you could say cuttings. Like Tractor Supply has the little bag, the little hardwood, maybe 8, 9, 10-inch little trees. And then they have the bigger bushes and stuff. But blueberries are very, very finicky. I've learned that in the last few seasons. They're like very acidic soil. Has to be very, very well draining. So I've been following a guy growing out the box, and he's got like 20-something blueberry trees. And so he sent me his blend for blueberries, and I tried it last season. So I'll see how it goes. I picked up 2 more this season. One from last season is doing good so far. So I got 3 blueberries. I picked up one more, a pink lemonade blueberry. So, but the soil they're like I said, they're really finicky. They have to have very well drained soils. I did sand, perlite, compost, and then peat moss and cottonseed meal. And so I mixed it all together. They're, like I said, they're very bougie when it comes to soil. And they need to like more on the like almost 5.5 on it, like very, very acidic for blueberries.
Is coffee grounds one of the things that the acidity to the soil?
Yes. So that's one thing I do use. I add coffee grounds to my all my berries as well. The only thing about coffee grounds is more of a slower, long haul thing. It's not like an immediate spike. It's more of like a gradual. So if you gradually add coffee grounds, it's going to add a lot of nitrogen, a little bit acidic, not as acidic as you think, because I actually did like a little test on it. It will drop it a little lower, but like I said, with the blueberries in specific, they like it like below 6. So you have to start out with a very, very acidic mix for blueberries. Otherwise, you'll constantly be trying to add acidifier to bring it lower, and it's easier just to start out with a very acidic mix from right out the gate.
Yeah. My sister-in-law lives in Montana, and they have blueberries going crazy over there. And what's the other one? I think is it raspberries or anyway, they have 2 different kinds of berries going on there, but they must, but their soil is probably totally different than here in Texas.
Yeah. So who that says you use suckers to plant? Okay, so do we use suckers to plant? I don't. I haven't. I know some people that have. I just been buying them from small trees and small bushes. I just picked up a pretty decent sized one from Tractor Supply. It was like $13, and it was in a maybe 2-gallon pot, and it was about this big. Mm-hmm. It already had buds on it, and it was actually looked like they overseeded it, so it was actually 2 bushes in one. So I ended up actually splitting it and then get 2 blueberries out of that one.
Oh, is blueberries one of those things you have to plant in pairs? Or
you know what? I'm not 100% sure, but I
because you already had to from the get-go, so
yeah. No, these bushes have been here for years. They dig up the suckers.
I would love to grow them. I would love to. Maybe I can try to set it up for next year because I kind of already have my climbing wall set up. I'd have to do more space for that.
Milk and Honey Heritage Farms. You said pink lemonade blueberries are yummy. They sound yummy. I had to get one. I was like, ooh, pink lemonade blueberries. That sounds delicious.
Mm-hmm. They have all these cute names for stuff.
Yeah, all these different cultivars. Like we might be love blueberries
at all. I don't have any berries growing at all. I tried to grow strawberries about 3 years ago, and mine got attacked by ants.
Oh, my Alabama Farm Life. I'm about to go check out your videos on blueberries.
And then I killed them over winter too, because I was following what other people said on how to keep them okay for the winter, and I don't know if I didn't do it right or they didn't give me the right advice. I don't know.
But you know those strawberries, honestly, they're very resilient. You'd be surprised. Like when you think that they're dead and gone, man, they bounce back. I had some that I completely forgot about, counted them out, and they were like, "Nah, we're back."
Well, I think I killed them all the way because that place in the planter, something else got. Actually, that's where my amaranth was last year. Remember the amaranth in the planters?
Yeah.
And then I had it in a pot, in a couple of pots. Well, they actually did the best in the planter. So I think that soil is looser, like you say about loose soil. I think that soil in the planter is looser. So I think maybe that's why it does well. But yeah, that's where they used to be, is where that amaranth was last year. I'm going to try that again. I never did like harvest it or anything. I didn't I didn't harvest it. I just thought it was cool. To me, it was like a flower, and I know you can do stuff with it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, you can grow them for ornamental. They actually even have ornamental strawberries. You
I was
know,
talking
but
about the amaranth.
oh, for the amaranth. Ah, gotcha.
No, I would definitely be eating strawberries. I had a couple of strawberries the year it grew, but I only had maybe 2, and then the
Yeah,
ants started attacking that area. And
yeah. Mine's the ants. It wasn't the ants. It was I think it may have been slugs. I never could figure out who the culprit was, but they'd always bite and they'd have bites like half the strawberry eaten. And I got very little last year, so this year I'm really staying on top of the pest control. I got some Dr. Castile soap, tea tree and peppermint oil soap, and I'm gonna use that with either pine needles or pine mulch. So hopefully it does the trick, keep them off of it.
yeah, I usually use pine mulch in part of mine. I can't use the cedar because I'm allergic, but I usually do buy some pine mulch. I definitely use it in my squash in between plants. So it, before they get up, it doesn't get all weedy in the area. But
Gotcha.
I don't know how people do their perennial bed because I don't want to cover up the whole thing because it's supposed to come up on its own, but there's like all these weeds coming up in there now. And I'm like, well, what if I pull up the plant that's supposed to be actually coming up? So I don't know how
Yeah.
you're supposed to keep the weeds out of those beds.
I don't know. I've kind of learned to just live with the weeds as long as they're not too much and too bad. And what I found out, like when my other stuff grows up, it tends to kind of choke out the weeds.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I have one bed where I'm going to
Hey,
have
Maritzas.
Hello, Maritz's Yarn and Crafts. I have, what was I going to say? Oh, in that bed, I have the ground cherries, lemon balm, and dill. So those are all going to come up. And then I was going to plant in between those like oregano and sage and have that whole bed just to be everything that comes up by itself. But
Gotcha.
yeah, but there's
How
little.
does the ground cherries taste? I've been trying to grow some for this year.
They taste good to me. It's kind of like a cherry tomato, but with a little bit of a pineapple flavor.
Ah, okay.
That's what it tastes like to me. But yeah, they should come up on their own this year because if I opened one up because it has the pod around it like a tomatilla. If I
Right.
opened it up and it wasn't yellow, it was like still too green, I would just bite it in half and put it back down and that seed would stay there. So that plus I left part of the plant there, it should come back on its own this year.
Okay.
We just put the seed right. Not that I don't know that the seed was necessarily mature enough to actually do anything, but I did go ahead and
Gotcha.
order some from In My Gardener. In case it doesn't come up, I'll just plant some more. Yeah, wait.
Since they plant that you want, then that's kind of what I do. Like a lot of times I end up not labeling and I forget what I planted. And honestly, I just like, I guess I'll just, see what happens as it grows up and go from there. Because I almost pulled up my blackberries last year like that because they were in a pot, they died, self-seed themselves into the flower bed, and it started coming up. And I had no idea what it was. I was going to pull it up, started to pull it up. I said, well, you know what? Let me just let it grow and see what comes. And lo and behold, those blackberries.
I think I'm going to notice the dill and I'm going to notice the lemon balm. But the ground cherry is going to be a little fuzzy because last year was my first year to actually get ground cherries. So I'm not going to, I don't know it well enough to recognize it when it's coming up like I do some other plants. Like I can recognize a squash or a tomato really easy, but some other things are more rare. And then I do remember kind of how the leaves go on the lemon balm. Of course, the deal is kind of, it just, I don't know how to explain it, but you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I'm planning on growing 4 different kinds of squash.
Yeah, my deal.
What's that? You want to say that one more time? You kind of cut out right there.
Say again. Like, keep going.
You guys having trouble hearing them? Or is it just me?
a lag. Can you hear me?
You were going out there. I don't know what's going on. It's not an echo. It's more of just like you were there and then you were gone. Wait until you noticeably. Yeah. Can you guys hear him?
Okay. Can you hear me now?
It did skip. See, she's saying it skipped.
Oh, it's not lagging.
Try again. What were you trying to tell us?
Continue.
I don't know what's happening. I don't know. No, it's like every time you speak, you talk, you're going into it, and you're into it about 2 words, and it goes boop, gone. Having internet problems, yeah, it could be possible. One of those.
All right. Well, let me other laptops that might be a problem.
Okay.
I'm gonna switch laptops.
Okay, he might be gonna hit a button or something and come back. We'll see what he does. So I'm planning on planting about 4 different kinds of squash and some herbs and some flowers, lots of tomatoes, some tomatillas, and all the seeds from the survival seed challenge that the Vineyard Chicks is doing. If you guys are out there in the audience, if you would share this live on your community tab to get some more people into the live. He's trying to work on his internet problem that he's having. Let's see what she said here. Pick up a few blueberries and just put them in bigger pots until fall. Thank you, Heather. Much appreciated. Tomorrow, Tina and I are going to try out that go live together at the same time thing. So we'll see how that works out. That'll be cool.
Can you hear me, Gail?
No. All right. Okay.
All right, give me 1 second.
See, I heard you there. I heard you there right then just now.
You heard me?
Yeah, I can hear you right now. Yay.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I think it might be my laptop, so I'm going to switch laptops.
Oh, okay.
Might be a little laggy.
A little laggy, yeah. Clear so far. Okay, so she's hearing you right now. Was it you that added the alfalfa pellets to your soil last year? Was it you that I saw that did that?
No, I did a cottonseed meal. I think they're supposed to be kind of the same thing or kind of have the same nutrients of alfalfa pellets or cottonseed meal.
Oh, okay. I was talking about it on a live last week, and for some reason, your channel hit my brain that I'd seen you do it last gardening season. I was like, well, I think it might be him, but I'm not sure. So it wasn't you. But anyway, I did see somebody do that, and I do want to try it this year. We'll see. I do buy it for my chickens.
What is it again? Alfalfa seed or alfalfa?
What's that?
Pellets.
Alfalfa pellets, like the kind you would feed to horses or chickens.
Okay.
Yep. Yep, I saw that on somebody's channel. I thought it was yours, but I guess not. Okay, so you were talking about, so you use that. amendment you're talking about for berries, is there anything else you use for your other plants? Like when you
For my other plants, I just kind of plant jade. For my tomatoes, I mix in a little bit of ash. I usually save my ash from the fireplace and charcoal, and so I'll sprinkle a little bit of that in there with some salt for the tomatoes, for my tomatoes and peppers. But everything else outside of that, on the gardening season, that's usually what I grab.
Yeah. Yep. I am planning to add bone meal, alfalfa pellets, and cow manure, I think, this year when I'm doing my. And do you do any store-bought soil, or do you mostly just do stuff around the house, or a little bit of both?
So for soil?
Yeah, do you buy some soil? I do some of my buying. I do some buying and some
last season
from the outside.
So last season I had my truck and my trailer, and I would go to Living Earth, and I just buy the yard compost in. It's a lot cheaper. They sell it by the yard. It's like $25 for just, and like $35 for the compost and manure blend. And it's like a whole trailer full. But this year, since I don't have my truck, I just been going to Lowe's, and what I do is there's usually a section in the back of the gardening section where they have all their busted bags, and the busted bags are $1. So I usually grab whatever's busted open for $1, and I mix in chopped up leaves and food scraps, and then I usually go to Starbucks, and they actually, the one by me, they actually pre-box the coffee ground. They use coffee grounds. So I grab like 2 or 3 boxes about yay big of coffee grounds, and I mix it in with the leaves, and then whatever cheap dirt that I find, at Lowe's.
Yeah. I did hear all of that he said, so that's good. Hello, Mandalay Cards and more. Welcome in. So that's good. We got to hear that. Yeah, he's just he'll talk and we'll hear him, and then he'll go his internet or something. I don't know. So let's see. I was going to see if there's anything I could talk about on here. Have you ever made your own bone meal before?
I've been wanting to. I just honestly don't have the time. And then the bones that I usually, they're chicken bones, and they're so small and tiny. But what I am doing right now, I am saving my eggshells, and I'm going to grind up my eggshells. You can also use, if you do a lot of like seafood, crab, crawfish, all that good stuff, you can also save all of those shells, and it's essentially this bone meal.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, because that is ground up sea creatures or something like that. Yeah.
So their shell kind of has some of the same nutrients as bone, the calcium and the phosphorus in it.
Yeah. It kind of sounds a lot like that oyster shell. Isn't that kind of what oyster shell is too? That you give chickens? You might not know that if you don't.
You can use oyster shell.
Kind of like that oyster shell you give your chickens for grit. Oh, diatomaceous earth. That's what it is. Oh. It's diatomaceous earth. That's the ground up sea creatures. That's what it is. That's why it's not toxic, because it's just
diatomaceous earth was.
Yeah, that's right. Oyster shell. She just woke up because she lives in Australia, and that would be
venture.
Hello, Unique Amazing Stripes. How are you? Do you have any projects of anything you're going to build in your garden this year?
So projects. I just finished my newest strawberry, and I'll do a video on it later. It's a cascading bed, kind of like a stair step, where you have one level, second level, and the third level, so that when they run, they kind of run down. My second project, I'm going to build. It's not much of a project, just a little box. I bought some shampoo ginger rhizomes, and I was going to plant them in the ground until I did the research. I found out when you plant them, they go everywhere. All over the place. They're very invasive. In fact, some states won't even let you order them because they're very invasive. So what I'm going to do is just do a little planter box. They don't have to be very deep because they don't, they spread out. So I'm going to build a box about maybe 3 feet long, by maybe a foot wide, about maybe 8 inches, 6 inches deep. And just going to put that somewhere and grow my shampoo ginger in that. So that way it keeps it from wanting to, spread out and take over the whole yard.
Yeah. I'm going to, they say that about mint also. So I'm going to plant my mint in a tire, like a car tire, and to keep it from everywhere. So this one doesn't usually. This is Bright. He's our boy cat. He doesn't usually stay by me. It's usually the other one that's all in my business. Have you heard about the Vineyard Chicks survival seed collaboration that's going around?
No, I haven't. Vineyard Chick survival. What's that again?
Vineyard Chicks Homestead is doing a survival seed collaboration. Hello, P&G Homestead Adventure, where they are sending out 6 seeds, 6 particular seeds they're sending you for everybody to grow. And you just make a video when you get your seeds, and then you make a video harvesting, and then you might show later, like if you make a dish out of it, or a tincture out of it, or a tea out of it, or something like that.
Okay, no, I didn't. There was a couple of challenges I wanted to do this year. I've been so busy, man. I barely have time to even do videos, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it's going to be too complicated. I mean, technically, you could make the video getting the seeds, do a little update, and then maybe a little harvest. So, I'll send you a video on it, and you could check it out, see if it's something you want to check out.
Yes.
Miss T.
Yeah, please do. Hey, Miss T. Yeah, so send me that link so I can check that out. That would definitely be something I'd be interested in.
Yeah, I think there's about 50 channels supposedly signed up to participate in this collaboration. So it's quite a big one. That's the hashtag. So I know my last frost date is March 1st through 15th. What is everybody out in the chat? What is your last frost date if you're a gardener? Yours would be the same as mine, right? March 1st through 15th?
Yes. It's about the same thing, yeah. Because I think you're right. Zone AB, right?
Last I looked, it said 8A.
Last
I looked, it said 8A. But it might have changed. Because last year, the last frost date was the 21st of March, and now it's saying the 1st to the 15th. So that changed. So maybe I need to go back and put in my zip code and see if it changed to be 8B. I don't know what the letter part means necessarily. I need to go do a little research on. I know some of it has to do with how many hours of the day you get sunlight. I think that's part of it.
Yeah. So, and actually, I watched a video on this. It's pretty interesting. So the whole idea with the hardiness zones and the USDA is kind of based upon your chill time and how cold it gets, your last frost date. But honestly, those zones are kind of almost least here in Texas, kind of almost asinine or useless because while we knowing our last frost date and how cold it gets and how many days of cold we get, for us, it's really important about because we could get anywhere from monsoon to windstorms to hail to blazing sun like within a week.
Yeah.
And what I've learned is more about your microclimate, understanding, like I said, your sun, how much sun you get, your temperature, your humidity is really more important than just knowing your last cold date and how cold it gets.
Yeah, I agree. There are times that you can plant things like a week or two before your last frost date. If the weather happens to be good, and you might get away with it if you have lots of seed to spare, which I usually do. I usually throw some stuff in there, get a little rogue and throw some stuff in there. So I just like to test the boundaries to see if I'll get away with it. But pretty much so far I have lettuce.
And
what's that?
And sometimes what I'll do is, if I know it's going to be a late frost, or if I know I still got some frost dates, but I want to get it in the ground, I'll get it in the ground, and then I'll just, when it gets cold, I'll just put buckets over it and cover it. You know what I mean? Because like for us in our zone, we don't get that many days of cold. It might get like a couple days freezing here, a couple days there. So for us,
yeah. I actually already have some stuff coming up in the garden. Lettuce, spinach, chamomile. Something's happening in part of
brassicas do very well.
Yeah, I have 3 or 4 things already coming up that I planted, but they're cold hardy stuff. But I'll be starting my rogue planting. I'm looking at the 10-day forecast. I'm like, okay, if it's not getting around the 30s, it's going to be around the 40s. I'm going to start rogue planting some stuff out there if I have a lot of seed, just because that's what I do. Because I noticed a lot of people in my garden zone that were getting stuff quicker than me. And I'm like, they have to either be growing a bunch of stuff under the grow light, or they're planting way before me. So I'm figuring that some of them are planting way before me, and a lot of them have more grow space under their grow light than I do, because I just have one grow light.
That's what I determined this year. I was like, when it comes to my brassicas, I get those in the ground anyways. They don't like brassicas like in January. You know what I mean? Because they like the cold weather. And then, for Texas, by the time May, they're already starting to bolt. I know last year my collards started bolting like it.
Your collard greens? Yeah. Yeah, my collard greens bolted quick too. I started planting my cilantro sooner. I actually already put some cilantro in the ground, because I saw that M.I. Gardner was planting his in January. So I planted some on that January. I think it was January 31st. I planted some stuff. I think it was the same day you were planting, or maybe the next day. It was pretty close to the same. I was like, oh, he's planting. That means it's time to go. So I was looking stuff up just to see what it said I could plant. Brassicas do well early. Yeah, I think my kale's already coming up too. But I usually plant kale over the winter. I didn't do it this year, but. Hello, Candace, Growing in Grace. How are you? Do you grow tomatoes and peppers too?
Yeah. Love for paper. Love for paper. How's it going? I got them all popping up. I get a little leggy, so I'm here and put dirt up to the first leaves. I got maybe 6 to 7 varieties of tomatoes. Maybe I might.
Oh, are you going to come in on your other thing?
All right. Let's see. Talk
You want me to kick the other you out?
Yes, if you don't mind the other you. Does this sound better?
Yeah, it does. It does.
Okay.
I didn't hear the tomatoes and peppers thing.
Okay. Yes. So let's see.
Hello, Lori's world.
Am I breaking up?
No, you're good now.
Okay. So what I'm doing this year, I'm planting maybe 6 or 7 different varieties of peppers and about 7 or 8 different varieties of tomatoes.
Yeah. I'm going to do the Vineyard Chicks Mariana tomatoes in a separate bed.
Hey, Grown and Grace.
All their seeds together. But I'm going to have my normal row of tomatoes that's just I usually grow like 2 of each thing, and I just have a whole row. So I should have plenty of tomatoes this year. Peppers, I'm going to grow the pepperoncini peppers, and I might try some other ones. We'll see. When do you usually put your peppers in the ground?
So peppers, I usually do those after the last frost date. So what I'm gonna do this year, I tried it last year. It worked pretty good. I started them in little adjust that a little bit. I started them in little pots, and when they got big enough, I put them in you grow in a clear plastic tote and set them outside. So that way, whenever it got cold, I could just put the lid on the tote and put a blanket over the tote. So it was kind of basically my little, homemade
greenhouse.
Okay. Yes. So I tried it, but I don't get them in the ground until after definitely like maybe late March. But I do want to start them because it takes so long for those peppers to really start, especially the color peppers to really start producing.
Maybe that's so you just get like those little 4 or 5 inch little pots, things that this stuff comes in, those kind of little pots like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes I use the solo cups. I got a bunch of solo cups. Basically, anything I can find and get my hands on, I'll stick them in that and then just grow them until I get them, about yay big or so. And then once but of course, now this is the second season I'm actually trying to grow them from the seeds. Before I would normally get them in the seedlings, but this year I'm trying to grow everything from seed. Well, let me rephrase that. All of my vegetables from seeds. So I haven't so far. I'm doing good. I haven't bought any vegetable seedlings because and those bonding prices, they're ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. I have trouble usually with peppers, but I'm going to try. Blackberry Rock Homestead was telling me about the paper towel method. I'm going to try that. I'm also going to try what you're saying. Put a couple in solo cups under the grow light and then move them out a little bit later with a clear tote on top. I'm going to try a couple of different ways. I'm going to try from everybody, and I'm going to see what works, because obviously what I'm doing does not work. So last year I cheated and bought 2 seedlings. I bought one of cayenne pepper and one of jalapenos.
So if you do the tote method, take your cups, put holes in them, and fill the tote with just a little bit of water. And then, like I said, you can take them outside. You can put a light over it, whatever. And then when it gets cold, bring them inside. I think they'll do good like that.
Yeah. Okay. So more than likely, the ground temperature wasn't really warm enough when I was trying to put it out. Probably.
Yeah.
And that probably was the problem.
Yeah.
Guessing. But yeah, I probably need to start trying to grow those under the grow light in like end of January, early January or late December, probably.
You got some heating mats?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I need to do something different, because they're saying, oh, in Texas, you should be growing peppers like crazy. I'm like, yeah, I should be. But I've not done that so far.
Yeah, I know last year like you said, I started early, but they weren't doing anything, man. I kind of gave up on them. But then as soon as it got warm, man, they just started popping up everywhere. I was like, I forgot I even planted this guy. I mean, it was just peppers and tomatoes. As soon as it warmed up, they just start volunteering everywhere. You know, so again, like I said, that soil temperature, it has to be. Now, I did find on Sandia Seed Company, they have a cold hardy pepper.
Mm-hmm.
I've never heard of it before, but apparently there's a cold hardy pepper they have on Sandia Seed Company that I want to try. They have a really good pepper variety and catalog on Sandia Seed Company. The only thing I don't like about them is that the amount they put in the package is. I was very disappointed. Like I paid $3 for a pack of seeds, but when I opened it up, it was like 6 seeds.
Oh man, I hate that. Yeah, I bought some of those really giant pumpkins, and when I opened it up to see the seeds, there was 3 seeds in there. Of course, I know they're giant, but still,
Right.
I basically have 3 chances to get this huge pumpkin up. That's not very much leeway.
Yeah.
That's not much area for error.
Hey, wellness with Frugal Mama.
But yeah, that I hate that.
So you say you'll be starting your peppers at the end of the month. You grow row. Yeah, because you're in a colder zone, right? You grow row like 7 or something.
Let's see. I'm gonna say Ohio. Am I right?
Oh yeah, it's probably still cold up there.
I think it's Ohio. I'm just guessing. I know we've exchanged mail back and forth a couple of times. Like she sent me a Christmas card. I've sent her a Christmas card and stuff.
Yeah, zone 6, Ohio. Yeah, so it's probably still a little cold up there, huh?
I was right on Ohio.
We get 3 days of in the 40s, and we're about to lose our mind down here. We don't do cold too much. Yeah, Milk and Honey Heritage Farm. Yeah, I'm definitely this year. That's another goal of mine. It's just not only grow everything from seed, but harvest most of my seeds. At least the easier stuff. Peppers I can do. Tomatoes I can do. Strawberries, that seems like a lot of work. The basil, a lot of the stuff that's easy to see to harvest. Collard greens, I'm going to harvest those seeds. But everything else, and if it's too much work, nah. Especially lettuce, I don't fool with lettuce seeds because I can go to the feed store and it's like an ice cream scoop about yay big, about $2 for a whole heaping scoop of lettuce seeds.
Yeah. I usually buy some kind of mixed lettuce. Actually, I'm going to harvest the lettuce under my grow light today. Going to make like some tacos, and I'm going to harvest my.
Now, do you have a hydroponic thing?
No, just in the utility room back behind me, there's a grow light. I have some heating mats, but I wasn't using them for the lettuce. But I do have 2 heating mats. I have a couple of marigolds there because I like to put the marigolds in the ground at the same time. I want the marigolds up a little bit before I put my squash in the ground so they can protect from all the different bugs. So
okay, so you do the marigolds with your squash for companion planting?
I do. Yep. And I swear by it. Other people, they say it doesn't work for them, but it works well for me. Maybe it's because of where I live in Texas. It worked for me when I lived in Abilene, and now that I live in Breckenridge, it works for me here too. So
yeah, I've done the marigolds with strawberries. They worked really well with strawberries companion planting. They did that and garlic did really well with strawberries. So that's what I'm gonna do that again this year with the marigolds and the garlic with the strawberries.
I'll try to remember that if I do decide to try strawberries again this year. I'll try the marigolds.
Yeah,
I'll do basil with my tomatoes.
Yes, basil with the tomatoes. That worked out great, man. I mean, I had basil. It was like this tall, this big. I mean, they loved to be next to each other.
I looked it up, and it actually said you could plant basil now.
Yes, I got some of my basil growing in my hydroponics. I got a homemade hydroponics machine.
100 degrees in Australia. Oh, come on.
What?
Come on.
Yes, it was 100 degrees.
Oh, man.
No way.
Hibernation, I bet. Yeah. Well,
Wow.
I thought I hated summer worse than winter. But the good part about summer is in the morning after you feed the chickens before it gets too hot, you can still go outside and do some gardening before it gets too hot. However, in the winter, you can't get away from that cold. It's just cold. There's
Yeah.
nothing you can do. You can't beat it with a time frame sometimes. Hello,
Hey,
two
two
old.
old people on the couch. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm just used to the summer. We've grown here, we live here, most of my life. So, 105, 106, you just kind of,
Yeah.
live with it.
We start early and people are jealous that we're starting early, but we're also probably ending a little earlier than them because that 100-degree triple digits for weeks in a row eventually kills things,
Yeah,
or it just looks so pathetic. We just end up pulling it up. Like last year, I ended up pulling up my squash. They were beautiful, and then they weren't.
yeah. Like I said, that those triple digits, a lot of stuff, man, don't like those triple digits. So, yeah. Now, what I
I need
did
to
find
figure.
out though,
Go ahead.
okay, what I did do this last season, I've been researching heat tolerant varieties. So I actually have a list of things this year I'm going to be planting in the summertime that did really well. Egyptian spinach, man, it did great. It was 105 degrees, no water. It was like thriving. Of course, peppers and tomatoes, Egyptian spinach, Malabar spinach. Then I'm gonna try Ethiopian cabbage and a New Zealand spinach. These are all supposed to be really heat tolerant brassicas.
You should make a video on that. The heat tolerant ones, your research that you did, you should make a video on that. I did plant
Yes.
my New Zealand. I did plant New Zealand spinach, and also I
So
planted a climate spinach.
how did the New Zealand spinach do?
It looks like it's coming up already.
Wow. How
It's
did it
out.
taste?
I don't know yet.
Okay.
I tried spinach about 3 years ago. I didn't have a lot of luck, but I think I planted it really too late. So
Yeah.
I think it looks like it's already popping up. I mean, unless I'm being fooled by a weed that's coming up there, it looks like the spinach is already coming up to me.
Yeah. And you said you planted the climbing spinach. Was that the Malabar spinach?
I don't remember. It might be. It might be. The two spinaches I got were ones I either won from Garden State Gardener or someone sent me like in the mail, or I won them basically. I won them or they were sent to me. So I didn't purchase either of them. I wasn't even planning to grow them, but I was like, oh, look, I can plant spinach now. I'm gonna go for it. So I went out there and
Yeah.
there's some of
That
the bomb.
Malabar spinach, it also loved the heat, man. It just climbed and it just vine. It took over. It's a different texture though. It was okay. It's not my favorite. I mean, I would probably just grow it just for the look and aesthetic and the coverage because it actually produces berries too. So it's very
Oh,
interesting because it produces these little berries that kind of taste like baby tomatoes, I guess. But you can eat the berries on it. Yeah, but the spinach itself is kind
look.
of the spinach itself is kind of viscous. It's kind of mucusy. It's kind of, I don't know. It's not slimy, but it's kind of thick.
Mucusy does not sound good.
Yeah, you saute it. It's good. It was good in spinach dip. But it's one of those you couldn't. It's not something that you would want too much of.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah. Usually I mix different lettuces together, and I'll even throw some kale in there if I have it, or spinach,
yeah.
all different things. I've even put uh raw collard greens in my salad too, because to
Oh,
me, when it's not cooked, it just tastes like lettuces too. I mean,
there you go.
I just mix things together. I actually prefer it that way. It's hard for me to eat a salad that's just spinach. I kind of like my
Yeah,
salad with mixed different things in it. And
yeah.
it's
I'm the
better.
same way.
Yeah. And then I cannot wait for some homegrown tomatoes. Because hubby bought a tomato for like tacos or something we were having one day, and I was like, man, this tomato's terrible. I was like, I can't eat for my own tomatoes. This is awful.
And once you kind of get homegrown, man, that other stuff, it just don't cut it.
Yeah, I actually didn't realize until I grew my own, but carrots from the store have a weird flavor. And once you grow your own, you realize that that's not the flavor they're supposed to have.
Huh. Yeah, I've never grown carrots.
It might even be almost a chemical flavor that you're tasting. I'm kind of wondering now if that flavor that we're tasting is not chemicals they're using to preserve things. Yeah. But yeah, that's how I beat the heat. I get out there right in the morning and work in the garden, and then I stay in. I might run out and do a little bit and come back in, but you can't stay out too long in Texas. You'll die. you make yourself sick. So then I'll go back out again in the evening before it's before sun.
Yeah, you grow road. You say homegrown tomatoes for the win. Yes, indeed. They not like some homegrown tomatoes because I want to do salsa. I want to do pico de gallo, the whole nine. Hey, Chris Clevercraft.
How are you, Chris? I haven't seen you around in a while. Do you have any garden tips for some of the gardeners out there in the chat, or somebody that might watch this in the replay?
Honestly, for the most part, keep it simple. Gardening don't gotta be expensive or complicated. I know I'm doing right now, finishing up a spring 2024 buyer's guide because spring is on its way. As you guys know, the stores got everything out front. They got all the, paraphernalia, and they're selling you this and they're selling you that, and you need this, you need that, and, because let's be honest, we live in a capitalistic society, and everybody's job is to try to get your money, to get you to spend more of your money. It's just, that's their job, right? Mm-hmm. There's people that go to school to learn how to sell sand to a beach and make them wonder how they ever live without it. And so with that being said, when you're getting into gardening, just know that it's I try to get back to being more simple. Like my old man, he would, grow huge rows of collard greens, potatoes, or squash. And all he ever did was tilling a little manure and leaves. And pretty much that's it, No Miracle-Gro, no amendments, just leaves and manure. And he would just till it in and grow tons of stuff. He would go get $2 pack, $2 sack of seeds from the feed store, So just, be mindful that when you go to these stores and you got all the fancy stuff and everything's out front, that they're just trying to get your money, that's what they do.
Simple. Yeah. I try to go with simpler, cheaper ways. I will occasionally I'll buy some bone meal or some store-bought soil, but I also spend a lot of time hauling dirt from the other side of the yard that's in a nice area where it's been composted with leaves. Hubby runs over the leaves, when he's out there, and then the chickens scratch around in there and leave their compost. And so that's a nice area. I dig right up until it hits that layer of clay, and then I stop, but I've taken the layer off of quite a bit there, just hauling dirt, trying to fill new raised bed that my husband's been getting shipping containers and bringing them home for me to fill. Well, he brought 2 home last year. I didn't have those all the way full. Then my sister bought me a raised bed, so that's another thing I have to fill. I'm like, man, I feel like I'm already behind.
Yeah. If you got enough leaves, I've been actually, when people put their leaves out during the spring cleaning or during that fall, I'll go around, especially on trash day. I'll grab a couple bags. I got like 8 bags right now in my backyard. I just been picking up people's leaves.
Yeah, there's a ton of leaves in the front yard. They're not in the backyard. It's the tree in the front yard that puts out that drops all the leaves. So I would pretty much have to haul it from the front yard to the backyard. But yeah, there's tons of leaves up there.
Gotcha.
But I did do, because some of them are big raised beds. They were used for shipping containers of stuff. So I he's already put the holes in it back in the fall, but there's like sticks and limbs at the bottom. And then I did do some leaves, and I did some dirt from the other side of the yard, and I did some shredded paper. And I mean, I'm layering it on like lasagna, but I'm running out of layers.
Yeah, stop by Starbucks. They usually have, like, you catch them at the right time, they'll have like huge bags of coffee.
Yeah, I actually live about an hour from Starbucks, so I would have to do that
yeah.
like when I was visiting my mom, because it's a little town. But yeah, that's a good idea though. So Starbucks will sell it to you? Is that what
they just give it to you. They just have it. You just say, hey, can I, I'm gonna pick up your old coffee ground. They'll put it in the bag and set it to the side.
Cool. So you call them ahead and let them know, hey.
Well, you don't have to. It's just I don't want to make a trip and you don't have it, so I'll just say, hey, can I come by and get some coffee ground? They say, yeah, we'll put it aside.
Yeah.
And they'll just keep it, and you come at a certain time, and they'll big old bag of coffee grounds.
I could do that actually. Just kind of set it up and just go by and pick it up next time I'm visiting my mom.
But if you got any diners, if you got any local diners that sell a lot of coffee, you can check with them as well. Anybody that sells coffee, I just say Starbucks, but really anybody, McDonald's, anybody that does coffee.
Yeah, we do have a little coffee shop here. I guess I could get their number and call them. That's a good idea. You put the idea in my head, so now I'm gonna have to get their number and call them, because I bet they would have some, and then I wouldn't have to.
Yeah, that's right. Milk and honey. I say Starbucks generically, but any White Rhino, Three Rivers, diners, even sometimes at work, we do a lot of coffee at work, and the guys will, take the filters and stuff, and I'll just say, put it in this bucket, and I'll take it home from work.
Yeah, I do save my own, but of course that's one per day.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I have been spreading, and I actually just take it out and put the coffee filter in the whole thing, and I'll just spread the coffee out, the actual coffee out, and just leave the filter in there too, because it's paper. So
yeah.
So that's what I do.
Yeah, those were compost. You're right, milk and honey. Just throw the whole shebang in there.
Yeah. I'll have to.
It'd be nice. Now, if you could get a hold of a restaurant, it would be nice if you could find a restaurant or something that has like vegetables and food scraps, or a grocery store that you could get their food scraps. That'd also be wonderful too, if you could, do that.
Do you actually dig a hole in your garden to plant your vegetable scraps? Or, I mean, to compost your vegetable scraps, or do you have like a composter kind of thing?
So I have composting buckets, and I got a composter that I put my food scraps in. When I first start my beds, so I just added like 2-3 new boxes. I'll start those with by filling those with the scraps and coffee grounds at the bottom, and then sticks and twigs and hay, all that stuff. I start the boxes. But in my big raised beds, I actually have a hole dug in the middle, and I have a waste basket with holes, like an office waste basket. They got holes in it, mm-hmm. And I have that in the middle of the box, and then I just like an in-ground compost bin, basically.
Yeah, I kind of felt like, in my case that the food scraps were actually attracting the ants more, so I stopped using the food scraps. I do still use the coffee filters and the banana peels and the eggshells, but I haven't used any food because I'm just like constantly fighting that battle with ants. And so I do want to get one of those tumbler things. Yeah, I actually put one on my Amazon wish list, hoping I would get that as a gift. Well, actually, the raised bed that hubby just put together for me was one that was on my Amazon wish list. My sister got it for my birthday, so stuff like that. I'll put gardening stuff on there. And
elementary schools will sometimes let you pick up veggie scraps. Okay, didn't know that. Huh. Another thing is sometimes some of the like food banks and stuff, they'll have like expired stuff. You might can also get with them too and see if whatever that's about to rot, and get that from them as well. Turning the compost and disrupting their home. Yeah, I don't have a compost tumbler. I have a compost. It's a roller compost, so you just stick it on the ground. You just roll it. Same principle, but you just roll it on the ground.
Do you do mostly raised beds, pots, in-ground, or container growing?
Mostly raised beds and containers. Simply because out here, these subdivisions out here in the DFW area, and I never thought about it till a guy from the local ag extension explained it. He was like, um, and I will say this, and I got to get ready to bounce here in a minute, go pick up the kids shortly. But they start ripping up all the soil and everything, and they built these subdivisions, and they rip it all up, and then they built the subdivisions, and they go back on with cheap topsoil. And so in this area specifically, there's a lot of bedrock underneath your topsoil. I mean, you go 6 inches, you're hitting rock. I mean, like just huge chunks of rock. And so I didn't feel like fighting the rocks, and I just do all raised beds.
Yeah, I used to do in ground, and then once I got started on the raised beds, I'm like, oh man, I prefer this so much more because that Texas clay is rough to grow in.
And I mean the clay's not bad. It's for me, it's the rock underneath the clay. Yeah. Because some vegetables actually like the clay soil. It's just that rock,
Yeah, me it was harder to keep up with the weeds in the straight in ground growing.
Yes. Yeah.
So so thank you for coming on, and I know you got to go pick up your kiddos and stuff like that. Thank you for coming on, spending
I appreciate you having me. I'm gonna try to do more lives this year. I've just been so crazy busy.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, you got some good stuff to teach and stuff like that, and I always like to ask questions and learn from people, and I love learning videos. So you get anything you want me to share or on my community tab or whatever, you can just email me and I'll be glad to share it for anybody really. But I'm offering it to you, but anybody in the chat as well. So
all right. Thank you guys all. Thank you everybody.
I will send that email to you right now on that collab so I won't forget.
Okay, please do.
Otherwise I will forget. All right. Thank you for coming. Right.
Yeah, have a good one.
All right. Thank you guys for coming in today and hanging out with us and doing garden talk. Appreciate all of you coming in, and hope you learned something new. And if you're interested in coming on and doing a garden talk with me, please let me know, and I will try to set that up with you. I am normally doing my lives at Tuesday at 7 p.m., but Dwayne needed to come on earlier, so I said, no problem. I don't have anything going on. We'll just set it up earlier. So anyway, bye, guys. Have a good day.